Welcome everyone to Zine Club, Mondays at 4, once or twice a month. We have Sarah today from the Cat Moms. Thanks for speaking to the Los Angeles Public Library Zine Club, LA Zine Club, also known as Zine Club LA. Let us know your history with how you got into zine making and tabling Zine Fest and you're in a group of the Cat Moms, so how that came about. We're excited to hear all about it. Thank you.
Yeah. So definitely thank you for giving me this opportunity. Um, so I'm fairly new actually to the zine world. Uh, I started making zines this year, like in May. And the thing is that I've been an artist for a while and I've been doing like self-published books, and it kind of came about naturally where I do drawing and poetry and photography and sometimes like short story. And I've always been kind of like, how do I present these things in a gallery setting? Because that's kind of been the world I was in. So, having text with drawings or even like having poetry being supplemented with drawings and kind of featured next to each other. And I've always known about zines, but I've never like just kind of gotten around to making them. And one of my friends who I met when I went to Otis, um, that's where I met the two other people from the Cat Moms. So I met Kai, who's one of the people from the Cat Moms, and then Delaney, who's the other one. And Kai's been doing zines for a long time. And Delaney and I were both kind of like, we want to try zines. And so that's kind of how it all got started. And it started just making more sense with the kind of like art that we do, like putting it in this format. And something that like is really important to me that I've been struggling a lot with how to show work in a way that's accessible and a way that is affordable. And that I love the idea of people owning your stuff, like just having it and having their own like relationship to it. And in the gallery like world, that's just not a thing. And so that was always frustrating for me. And also the fact that zines are something that you can do, you can make anything you want, is just like so empowering and awesome. So that's kind of how zines and the cat moms came about. And it's kind of wild because, LA Zine Fest is like a big deal. And that was actually the first Zine Fest we all applied to as a collective. We were like, okay, we heard that you get a better chance of getting into these things if you get in with like multiple people in your group. So we were like, okay, Kai, Delaney, me, let's all just like make a collective, have our zines, have our self-published books, and just like see what happens. And we were like really lucky. And from there, we met a lot of other people that are in the zine community. And that's how we experienced really just the welcoming and like just how community based it is, and how everyone's really helpful, everyone's really nice, and which is really different from coming from like a more artist shows and gallery backgrounds or whatever, because it's really competitive. And this was kind of the space that I really vibe more in, is like people who support what you do, want to have conversations about the work that you do. It's not like a constant like proving that you're doing this for that or whatever, like, and it was just more like a genuine connected space. So yeah, that's kind of how it got started. And we've only done a few so far. So we did that one. We did the American Library Association conference, and I think John was there. I think he was there. Yeah. Um and so we did that, which was cool. That was different because that was like a conference of where it was more like librarians coming to understand like zines are a reputable way of gaining knowledge, and like these other kinds of like book formats. There's my kitty. Book format. Yeah, yeah, cats. And then and from there, like this is how it's kind of been happening naturally. It's like at each event someone talks to you and they're like, hey, we have this going on. Do you want to be part of it? And so that's where I found out about this presentation thing with Ziba. And then we also found out about the Whittier Library Fest, and it was like their first, yeah, cats on bikes, their first, she's so funny, um, Zine Fest that they had at that library. And so Delaney did that one for us. And the next Zine Fest where you're going to find us is the San Diego Zine Fest, which I heard is a good one. Um, yeah. Okay. Cool. 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 All right. We're excited. So we're going to be at that one, which is in October. And yeah. So, something that I was thinking about, but I'm not sure kind of where everyone's at. I was going to talk about like the history of zines, but I didn't know if everyone who's here already knows that stuff. Can I get a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you want to talk about that? Thumbs up. Okay. 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 Cool. Okay. So, all right. So I think it's important to note because as people who make zines and just even the idea of like the importance of making zines and like anyone could do it, that's been like the basis the whole time. So it started out in the 1930s and the 1940s with short like magazine style science fiction zines that a lot of like science fiction fans were making. And then in the 1950s and 1960s, zines were also being made about folk music and that whole scene. um, Comics started happening and rock and roll zines. And it wasn't until the 1970s and 1980s that there is the invention of the copy machine and then the accessibility to like go to places with these machines. So zines could be made with a lot of different kinds of people now with different ideas. And this is when punk zines started coming out and the DIY, more like grungy movement of like zines because like anyone could do it. And in the 1990s, Riot Girl, which is like an underground feminist movement, started doing political zines with the Feminist Manifesto. And also another one to note, like in the 2000s, 1990s, was a queercore, which was an offshoot of anarcho-punk subculture, and they were just like critiquing homophobia within the genre and society altogether. And so zines have always kind of been like subcultures, marginalized voices, and but then also like anyone could do it if you had the accessibility to the tools. And now that we're in like this modern space, like zines are all over and like so many people are doing it and it's awesome because you could do it with your printer at home. And so that's kind of what I was going to talk about was how I make zines because it's very easy. It's very basic. I am not a tech human. So I had to figure out the most easy, free way. So, okay, so I looked it up online. I was like, okay, how do I do this? And um, so I found the best way was with Google Slides, actually. And so Google Slides is like completely free, and you're gonna make your zine content as if, and I'm sorry, I wish I knew how to like share the screen with all of it. And I do know how, but I don't know if it's gonna be helpful. Um, let me explain it, and then maybe I could ask people if they want me to like share my screen with certain things. Um, but so basically, like Google Slides is the best way to do it. And so you're gonna go onto Google Slides. You know what? I think I should just share my screen. Hold on a second. Let me get my Google Slides up. So we're gonna go to Google Slides, and once I get it up, because this is literally how I make all my see Google Slides. So okay, so let me share my screen now with you all, and you're gonna see one of my zines, which is my poem collection. So I don't know if I'm able to see, but I'm not sure if I'm able to share it. I'm having, it's coming up as like desktop one, but a big old like exclamation mark, like as if we can't do it. Let me see.
You can try.
Mm, I don't know. It's okay if we can't. It's pretty easy. Um, so I don't think that for some reason it's not working, but it's okay. So back to just what we do. So you're gonna go into Google Slides, and then you would the most important thing, because I'm not changing page size, nothing, like we're making this really simple. We're gonna do 8.5 by 11, what you put into your printer. So you're just gonna go to page setup. So you would go to file on your Google Slides, and then you would go down to page setup, and you would hit custom, and you would put 8.5 by 11 inches, apply it. And then after that, you're gonna just start making your zine. So, like the first slide, right, would be the cover. And then from there, it's whatever you want to do after that. If you want to have an intro page or some fun drawings, whatever works. And it's very simple. And then after that, what I realized was like the most helpful way to do this was to actually save my like slideshow that I made as a PDF onto my desktop. And then once you do that, you're going to save your PDF on your desktop, and it's through Adobe Acrobat that you just go file, print, and then you just go, I want this to be a booklet. So you're going to do the booklet, and it automatically creates it for you, that you just have it all where you can fold it, and it's perfect. And I would say the only thing that you could change up is it'll give you an option of like, oh, okay, you want to do this as a booklet. So do you want the binding on the left? Do you want the binding on the right? I typically do the left. And then you print it out. And so this is what you're going to get. So this is one of my zines. So it's called I Love You, Chani. It's a zine about pet loss. It's my doggy who we had to say bye to like over a year ago. And so it's going to print out like this. So it's going to have the 8.5 by 11. And since you put it as a booklet, it's going to have each of the different things on each side, like a booklet, how you made it on your Google Slides. So then you just fold it in half, and then I'm going to teach you how to make the binding. So this is kind of the binding that I do, and I learned it from my friend Delaney, who's also in the Cat Moms, because it's also very simple, and it gives the effect of just like intimate, homemade, crafty. So these are the tools to do that. So you're going to have your booklet, and then these are the different tools I'm going to show you. So you first want to make, it's just 3 holes in the left binding of your zine. So I have a needle from a sewing machine because they're like really strong. And so here's the binding, and we're just going to make 3 holes. So we'll make one here. You kind of want it to be in the middle-ish area. And then another one here. Here, 1 second, let me do it. And then another one here. Okay. And then with each of these, you're going to take, I'm just making the holes a little bit bigger because in order to thread the string in, you kind of need them a little bit bigger. So I'm just pushing the needle all the way through. So you see we have the 3 holes here. And then I'm going to get some string. So I use kitchen twine because it's here and it looks very natural. So kitchen twine, and then you just kind of cut it. I would say like 6 inches. You don't have to go too far with it. Um, and then I like to take, I just happen to have a looming needle, but you could use anything that would just make the hole a little bit bigger to keep just like pushing it through. Right. So if you don't have kitchen twine, you can also use any string. And so my holes are bigger. And so I'm going to take, yep, you could do yarn. Could definitely do yarn. It's really what you want to, whatever you want to use. This is kind of more of like a aesthetic effect. So then I'm gonna put it through this other needle that I have that's just a little bit thinner. And so you're gonna start here, sorry. So you're gonna start from the middle, from the outside. Audio because I love that. Okay. Middle from the outside. Just put it through there. Then you're gonna put it through the top one. So you put it through here. Then you're gonna come back through the middle. Okay. Pull it through there. And you want to have from the beginning, I forgot to mention, you want to still have a little bit coming out from the middle because that's where you're going to tie it. And then you're going to go through the last hole here. Okay, perfect. And then that's where you're going to tie the two together into like a little knot. Okay. And honest, I don't even double knot it. I just do a one knot. Doesn't have to be that tight. And then I usually like, so it's going to be like this. And I usually like to just kind of cut it off a little bit so it's not all dangly and all that. And so this is the binding. This is it. Right? It goes all the way through. It's so simple. And it allows that also like it gives you a little bit of um slack, I guess you could say, to where you can bend pages pretty far back and it's like very forgiving. So yeah, it works out really well. So that's all. um unless anyone has any questions, I'll bring it out for questions now.
Someone has a question in the chat.
Oh, okay.
How do you share your zines once they're made?
Ooh, okay. So it's a great question because usually like I'll let people know on Instagram, but I'll be honest, my Instagram followers, they don't really care about zines. So it's not a great place for my zine stuff in general. But what's been really great is going to these different zine fests and like trying to get into them. And they, as I've said, also is like everyone's so welcoming and so nice, and um, like people are just like very willing to like let you present as long as they have room. And so that's kind of where I do share my zines there. And I also am just kind of getting started with the zine stuff. In terms of, yeah, I'm still like very young in the zine world. So I've been thinking also about putting my zines in like indie bookstores. I think that would be really cool. I was also been wanting to put my zines in like the free little libraries in neighborhoods to just like put it in there. Um, so those are kind of like different ways that I want to share my zines. So yeah. Oh, that's nice. Thank you. Um,
Hi,
oh, I
I
have a new
was
question.
wondering, you said your background was in the art galleries. I was wondering if that background influenced how you make zines, and if so, how that works.
That's so interesting. Whoa. I've never thought about it. But I think in terms of, like, when I've been kind of forced I don't like the word forced, but, like, where you really think about how are you gonna present your work, like, let's say you have multiple drawings or, like, a series of, like, images, you really think about the storyline or the through line that they're each gonna present, as someone views it in a gallery, and so that's kind of been really helpful with making zines because it keeps you in that space of like, how is this going to be a narrative that flows with one that I'm even trying to tell a story about? And so um, I would say that's really influenced kind of just how I make things flow. And I think also, like if you, I don't know if you know this, but like also with my zines, like they're really basic, they're really simple, and um, I think that's something that I'm trying to work on is to not be so like they have to look really clean, they have to look really like not cluttered, like just very little, like minimal. That's something that I think I need to work on is to kind of let myself like be more free with the like creative like process of it because yeah, I think that was an effect as well of like when you put things in a gallery is it's like very minimal everything except your work is the only thing that's being seen and yeah, it's definitely something I'm trying to work through with the zine
Yeah,
world,
I
have more
was
fun.
just the zine you have right there. It's beautiful,
Mhm.
by the way, and
Thank
it's has that minimalist feeling, almost like those white pages are a wall, and you have this little object in the middle of the wall on each page. You know, so
That's so cool.
I love that aesthetic. But you're right. Yeah,
Yeah.
there are lots of zines that are like just explosions of color and messiness.
Yeah.
You know, so that's cool.
Yeah. You know what? I've never thought about how, yeah, these different ways that I've been like trying to present my work does also inform how you just do it in other formats. And so I actually really appreciate you bringing that up because that's something I'm thinking about now, how I do that. Okay, so someone put in the chat, have you experimented with different types of paper? Well, okay, so this is cardstock. And so in the beginning, I did just like pure like Xerox paper, like just your basic, that's it. And that looked pretty cool too. But I try to think about if someone's touching it and holding it. Um, Cardstock I really like because it's like it's thick, it's heavy, it's also smooth. But I also wanna start experimenting with, paper that's got more ridges to it, like, even, like, watercolor paper, I think would be really nice. Um, and it's got those ridges, it's got texture. You know, something that I've haven't experimented with is colored paper. I think I should do, colored paper sometime too. So, yeah, this is exciting. It's just kind of like the beginning. The world's feeling pretty open here.
Do you use a home printer or you go to like a store?
I use my printer at my house. So I've yet to like get into more complicated stuff. Um, yeah, my printer at the house. That's all I use. You mentioned Zine Fest. I'm also moving the zine. I didn't know there were Zine Fest. Where did you hear about? Oh, okay. So I think I've always been a fan of zines. And so I've always wanted to go to LA Zine Fest in person for years. And I never like got around to doing it. But because I was originally someone that was already following their page, that's how I even knew there's such thing as Zine Fest and that they were looking for different people who make zines. And I was just like, you know what? Like, why not? Like, let's just try. And that's how I found out about that one. And then with that, it was just like this whole portal of like zine life opened up afterwards, where there's like afterwards I went to the conference for librarians to even know that zines exist and they're cool and you should put them in your libraries. And then like libraries have zine fest and then even this where I'm talking to other people that make zines. The world is huge. Like the zine world is huge. So yeah, I'm also just learning about it. Um, but yeah, I think Instagram's been a really helpful tool, honestly, for hearing about zines. And Ziba, the person who did this right here, she's very helpful. Oh yes, thank you, John. Just shared a calendar of Zine Fest. Yes, John is a big resource.
So how was the Whittier? Was it called Whittier Zinefest or Whittier Library Zinefest? Or tell us
Yeah,
about that one.
yeah. So the Whittier Zine Fest. So I wasn't able to make it to that one, but that's also the beauty of a collective where we have all been kind of able to pitch in when necessary. And so Delaney went there, but she was letting me know that it was pretty small, but there was like a good flow of traffic, even though it was their first Zine Fest, which is really exciting. And they also had like little places where you can make your own zine there too at the library, which was super cool. Um, so yeah, that's how that one went. And to me, it sounds like they want to have more. So I'm assuming it went really well in that sense. Oh, okay. Lisa put my friend put that. Oh, yes, 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 yes. They're really cool. I met them, your friend. They're very cool. Hmm. Uh-huh. Yes, Monica. Yeah, she's very nice.
Was it the public library or academic library? Is it
Oh, it
the
was the
real?
public.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Whittier Public Library. And so I met Monica through the American Library Association conference, which I was able to get into because of Ziba. So there's kind of like this trail of connections that just happen in different spaces. Hmm. It is
That's
very
so
powerful.
cool. Is the whole group going to San Diego Zine Fest or a few of you?
So it'll be me and Delaney. So Kai, she lives in Hong Kong. So she's not able to make like any. Um, but me and Delaney are the ones who live in Southern California. So we're going to be there at the San Diego Zine Fest. And it's actually going to be at this, I went there recently. It's this gallery called Bread and Salt, but it used to be a factory. It's in Barrio Logan, which is, I don't, oh, you know where Chicano Park is in San Diego? It's where Chicano Park is. And so it used to be a factory there. I think they made bread. I'm thinking they made bread. Don't quote me on that. But yeah, that's where it's going to be. So it's exciting. It'll be cool. How did you all decide on becoming collective? Did you all meet through Zoom again? So we all came together. So we met at Otis. And so Otis was an art school that we all went to. Delaney and Kai finished and got their masters. I my first semester was like, this is not for me. Um, but we still kept in touch, and Kai's been making zines for a long time. And Delaney and I, we made a self-published book together after Otis. And that book actually was about a long distance friendship, and we uh, basically sent like our work back and forth to each other for us to build on, and like different prompts we gave to each other too, where we were like, how do you make the bed? This is how I make the bed. And we take a photo of it and send it to them, and then they kind of build on it. And so anyways, that was kind of Delaney and Mai's like first experience of working together to make something. um, and then we were both like, we want to make zines. Like, we wanted to see what it's about. We're just curious about it. And so we started making them. And then Kai was like, yeah, I'll be part of it. I already have zines. Uh-huh. And we all have cats. We're all cat moms. That was like our through line. We were like, what's our collective name? We all love our cats. We want to go home and see our cats. And so, yeah, that's how we all got together.
That's so cool that that the three of you all have cats and met at Otis, and that Kai's in Hong Kong. So how does
Mm-hmm.
that tie in? Are there Hong Kong Zine Fest, or what's the scene like over there? Is there?
Yeah. There is. So Kai is like really busy over there. So she like they have They do have Zine Fest, but also like her zines are in a lot of indie bookstores there. And she's also making coloring books too, which is pretty cool. And I've been just kind of seeing through like Instagram and stuff like that, like a lot of public spaces with kids where they're doing the coloring with her books. So there is a scene over there, which is super cool. Um, and I would say with Kai, like as much as we like want her here, like in person with us, because we really miss her, um, she's having like a great time there. And she's from Hong Kong. So she had to go back home because she wasn't able to get a working visa here after school. So um yeah, that's kind of how that happened. But we all like were able to make the connections together with each other before she left.
That's so cool. And you said you started in gallery type art settings.
Mm-hmm.
And is that a place you still go to? And if so, is there a way to do like a zine exhibit or a zine gallery display? Or how do you do zines and art galleries?
Yeah, that's a cool question because I don't know yet. But I am thinking about this. So, because I still like as much as I love zines because of the accessibility of them and to get whatever you want to express out there. I would say with the gallery world, that's not really, yeah, it's just not as accessible and you have to apply and it's like you have to really prove that you should be in that space, which I don't love. But there's a really cool gallery that I've been working with, and it's online only. So it's not an in-person gallery, and it's called Gallery by Mu, and it's MUI. And the person who's head of the gallery, her name's Maria, and she is so just like sweet and understanding of like, I just like what you make, and whenever you have something cool, like let's put it up there. And I love that it's online in terms of the accessibility, like anyone can see it, it's free. And so I've been thinking about doing a zine about a photo series that I'm working on. I don't know if this is exactly how I want to present the photo series, but it is something that is possible where you could have the digital zine and that is the exhibition through the website. In terms of it being an in-person gallery, I would actually, I mean, this is where my mind's going now, but I'm sure, I could, or we in general can think of cooler ways to do this, but the zine would be like a catalog essentially of the work that's being shown in real life on the walls. Or the zine could also be like what Kai did that was super cool in her solo exhibition was she had an installation made out of rice paper where it was like as if you're in her car. She had a projector screen like in front of you showing like the freeways of LA, you driving through it, and she had a zine with it which is called Drive My Car, and it had the songs of that you would be hearing in this projector screen that she'd be listening to as she's driving her car. So there's different ways to use the zines in a supplemental sense of making the work in front of you and the experience a stronger one. So there's a lot of ways we could do it.
Thank you. That's so cool. And I'm glad you got to be at LA Zine Fest and the Zine Pavilion. And I think Lisa has a question.
Says, yes, Sarah, I did this with an exhibition I did recently. I made a mini zine version of my artwork on the of my art on the walls of the show. I also did an art show at a record store where I took the pages of a zine and turned them into big pieces and sold both. Very cool. I love that. And it's inspiring me to get myself out there again because that's also one thing that I'm trying to manage right now. I just started grad school, my second attempt at a master's, but this time the master's is not for fine arts. It's to be a therapist for expressive arts therapy, and it is taking over my life. So I'm just like, I want to still make art. I want to get things out there, but school is like suffocating. So I want to do more things too. It's definitely an option. I had no idea what I was exactly. So that's something that's so cool that I love about art in general, or the art world, or just creating things, is like you start somewhere, you have no idea where it's going, but then it turns into this beautiful thing that's like happening in front of you. It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah, years back when I first started here, like 2018, 20, yeah, around 2018, they had a staff art show for all the staff of Los Angeles Public Library. They could contribute something, anything, and then it would be on display at a branch art space. And my contribution was a zine. So I
Oh
had it like
yes.
dangling from the yarn or string that was
Mm-hmm.
binding it in the middle, and so I had said they should just hang it so people could flip through it, and that was my art piece for the library.
That is so cool. Like, I
Thank you.
love that. I love that, even just like putting zines in like a typical art space. I love how it just destroys the whole pretentiousness. It's like, no, this is knowledge. Like this needs to be here, like too. And that's awesome.
Thank you. I know San Diego Zine Fest is 2 days usually. Are you doing the first day or second day or both? Or
So thank you for mentioning that. We're just doing the first day, so we're doing Saturday.
I know John's done San Diego Zine Fest, and it's I think one day they had it indoors and one day they had it outdoors, but I don't know if
Mm,
that's how they're doing it this year. But I like that
yeah.
fest. They have the DJ and they have food vendors or a couple of coffee vendors, and yeah, it's in the neighborhood. The cool art gallery.
Okay, so it was in the same place.
Yeah, it's been in the same place for years, right, John?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, except for right after the pandemic, they did it out. See, one year they did it in the parking lot in front of Bread and Salt.
Mm-hmm.
Another year, right after the pandemic, they did it at a nearby, like a courtyard inside a, a bar or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
they're back to Bread and Salt like every year now. Now that the everyone's
Yeah.
circulating. Yeah, yeah, it's like my favorite one, really. I
Oh,
don't.
really? Okay.
Yeah, because I mean I love LA Zine Fest, but you know that it's like totally blows my mind, that fest. But San Diego's got the whole music thing going, and food, and it's a great vibe. There's a guy making screen printing T-shirts for you for free if you want. So it's awesome.
What? Oh,
Yeah,
that sounds good. That sounds really good. Are you gonna be there this year?
yeah. I'm tabling on Sunday, but I'll probably go on
Oh, okay.
Saturday too. So I'll stop by your table and see your cat mom stuff. I want to see. I want to
Ah.
feel that zine that you've been showing us, because you're saying it's textural or whatever.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. Oh, cool. Yes. I'm excited for it. Um, does anyone else who is here have questions, or even like things that they've been thinking about for zines that they want to make, and maybe we could like brainstorm together? Open to it.
Yeah, we haven't heard from Steph or Steven. Feel free, drop it in the chat or unmute.
But then also don't feel pressured to. It's just out there if you want. I mean, one other thing for people that are getting into the zine world that I didn't know was a thing either, with people like trading zines with each other. So, oh, okay. That sounds good. Thank you. I just read the chat. Um, People really like trading zines with each other. So it was something that I experienced for the first time at LA Zine Fest, where at the end people were like, "Hey, I have this zine. Can I trade it for this zine?" Or, "I have this cool sticker. Can I trade it with this sticker?" adds like a really nice like community effect to it. Um yeah, it was like really nice. Like you're like getting something that someone made and cherishing, and you're like, I want to give you something as equal value, like for you too. Um, I wanted to say thanks to you because I was oh oh my God, I didn't know that. Thank you. Oh my God. That's so cool. I didn't know that. Okay, awesome. Yeah, I'm glad that you enjoyed the booth. And yeah, Zine Fest is overwhelming. I was so overwhelmed too. Like there were so many people, but it was also like beautiful. Thank you so much for saying that. You know, that's actually why I really like the zine world more than whatever I've experienced like with having exhibitions and galleries or whatever is like you get to actually and it's just I'm just so like thankful that people even like feel comfortable to do this, but people are picking up your work in front of you and you as like they don't know if that's you who makes the stuff, but I'm sure they assume it and you get to see their genuine reaction as they are experiencing it. And a lot of people cried actually about my zine for pet loss, and it I didn't know that it could, but it did touch a lot of people's hearts. And that's honestly like the point, like of why I make stuff is I want it to be there for someone. I want it to speak to someone and give them that feeling of like, oh, someone's here with me and whatever, I'm feeling. So it was so special, and I feel so grateful that people felt comfortable enough to have those moments and reactions in front of me. Um, it was so cool, like, that's the best part. I've never experienced that in my life before, so, yeah. Yeah.
I love hearing that. Thanks for sharing in the chat and everyone. My first Zine Fest was tabling in 2012 at LA Zine Fest in downtown LA at the Last Bookstore. And I was also in a collective called the Three Amigos. So it was myself and two others that I knew from high school, even though it was over a decade out of high school. So people were picking up the zines and looking at the zines and buying their zines, but not my zines. So I felt a little
Yeah.
discouraged because I thought, oh, they like zines more like with words or a story, maybe not mine, which was more like collage and visual. So they would look at mine and put it down, but then they would look at my colleagues, at my peers at the table, and they would buy theirs. And at first I was sad, but that was my first zine fest. But it was like you said, a portal to a zine world. And from then
Mhm.
it was I did do San Diego Zine Fest once, tabling there. It was really cool.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, that's also an experience that I I didn't realize I would bump into too, where you see, like, when you're working in a collective, yeah, the comparison game is super hard. Like, people really love Kai's work, because her work is so cool, and, like, I love her work too, and, um, of my zines kind of, like you have to, like, actually read them, to, like, kinda get into them. They don't have, like, the, like, pull factor right off the bat, like, with visuals. So yeah, it is something that happens and I've experienced too. Um, but then like there are those certain people that like really jive with whatever I was making, and I was like, "Oh, okay, like that's the point anyways, like whoever it jives with, it jives with, and they got it, whatever it was." Do people usually charge for their zines at Zine Fest? Yes, but you try to make it affordable. So like no more than for me personally, like, no more than $15 for a zine. I like the 5 range. Um, I'm really into the 5 range. Um, but then, like, I'm also the person, like, if someone wants my zines and you can't afford it, I'll just kinda give it to you anyways. That's like, I don't really love the whole, like, the money gets in the way of the experience vibe. Um, but then there are some people, you know, at Zine Fest, like I tabled next to someone else where someone didn't have enough, you know, and they still wouldn't like let them have it. So you do bump into like different kinds of people who have maybe more of like a business aspect to it than like an exposure aspect to it. Um, but the goal is to keep it affordable. And some tables, like our table, offered free zines, like Kai had some free zines. Some people have like free stickers. So there's also like free stuff in different booths that are available. But yeah, I think the etiquette, I think it's kind of like getting the vibe of the person, you know? But I would also be really nervous too. Like if I didn't have enough, but I really loved it and like told them that, like I would be nervous to do it too. So I'm not really sure how one could like necessarily go about it. And I'm sorry, I'm not very helpful with that. But no, if you do come to my booth, I would be helpful.
Yeah, when I first tabled in 2012, I made all my zines $1 each, and they were the size of yours, like the half page folded. But
Hmm.
now I probably would do $5 because of inflation.
Yeah, yeah, totally, totally. Yeah. And something that was also interesting was like in LA Zine Fest specifically, they said like we want 80% of what you have out there to be zines and the other to be merchandise. But then a lot of people ended up not even like following that. A lot of people had, you know, just like merchandise out. And the merchandise was super cool. But yeah, you're gonna see like there's gonna be different ranges of things. Like the zines are usually going to be like the cheapest things you'll see at their table with like stickers. And then if people are selling like tote bags or t-shirts or hats, you know, it'll get more expensive in that sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I do co-organize LA Zine Fest. This will be my
Mhm.
third year. And before that, I would co-organize Long Beach Zine Fest. I did that for 4 years. So almost 7 years. And it is interesting that when you visit other things that are not Zine Fest, like art fairs or craft fairs or night markets, like how this merch, like all kinds of cool merch, plus maybe little zines. Like, but I think, yeah, it's to me, I think zine fests are cool when it's primarily zines. It's the
Mhm.
focus because I feel like there's other spaces for other things like flea markets or like comics, like a like LA Comic Con or so. I feel like Zine Fest to me, like I'm going for zines like primarily, and if there's a little bit of other stuff, that's cool. But
Mhm.
I think if you have it just once a year in a neighborhood, like that'd be cool to just focus on zines, in my opinion. What does everyone else think about that?
I have like a mixed opinion about it just because it's different being like someone, for example, like I went to the Mocha Book Fair, which is not a zine fest, right? It's more for, you know, books, but it was a lot of self-published books that were there. And the things that really caught me was the merchandise to go to a table. So that's kind of like the thing too, where it's like, all right, if I'm not vibing with the book, but I love the merchandise, you know, it is this like also exposure factor. And like maybe like I'll come back to their stuff like through the internet or whatever and like get engaged with their work that they make. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Um, but I do also really like the whole this is the zine fest. We have zines and this is what we're here for, and then just like some stuff that we can have around it. And in my experience with the LA Zine Fest, people were mainly there for zines, and that was super cool. And that like taught me like there's a huge like want for this. People love zines, and so that's kind of I guess I'm understanding you don't need to have so much merch. When people know when they're going to these spaces, that's what we're doing here. It said someone was raising their hand, but I'm not sure. If anyone has a thought, just come through.
What's funny is when the last time I went to San Diego Zine Fest, I came across a record label tabling their zines, but also their records and audio cassettes. And I thought, oh, I had no idea this would be here. And that's like what I ended up buying was vinyl and audio cassettes and maybe
Mhm.
like one zine. So I actually ended up buying more music
Yeah.
merch. So, but I wasn't expecting that. So that was like a pleasant surprise, plus a button and a patch. But yeah, usually I'm just looking for zines.
Yeah. I think in the chat, what's going on here is say I would agree Ziba, but only because I wouldn't want it to turn into something like a convention. That's true. And then John says, I agree. There's other spaces for other stuff, like you said. And then Lisa said, I think if there aren't enough zines, it would become an issue with economic accessibility. True. Very true. Um, Bonnie Hag also agrees. And then Steph, but I like the mix at LA Zine Fest. I went for zines. Um, but if I have money available, I like to support people by buying merch. Uh-huh. Yeah, yeah. I think as I'm becoming more understanding, as someone that, didn't know much about zines and then started getting into the zine world, that people who love zines are there for zines. Um, that's pretty much it. Like, it's not strange for it to be a big, like, we're kind of just selling zines because that's what people want. But yeah, that was a good little conversation we were having there. I enjoyed that.
And I also like that there are zine fests all over, like from San Diego to LA, and not just big ones, but then at the small public libraries like Whittier. And
Mhm.
then the American Library Association is all over based on the year. So you were there for San Diego Zine
Mhm.
Pavilion. This coming 2025, it's going to be in Philadelphia. So if you know
Mm.
any zine makers, anyone here, if they know any zine makers in Philadelphia, let them know to apply to table at Zine Pavilion is free. There's no table fee. And I don't think it's that competitive. I think they want the local zine makers to be there to just show the librarians their zines.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And that was actually that's another point that you brought up. Is that also when you table there is a fee to table usually. But yeah, at the American Library conferences, it was free, which was amazing. And some places have different fees. Like for the LA Zine Fest, it was 75. And then for SD Zine Fest, it's 25 to table. So there's different prices for different Zine Fest as well. But yeah.
well, in our last couple minutes, any last questions? Or also, thank you so much for all your sharing of your zines. So,
Yeah.
what's your next zine coming out?
Oh my God, that's a good question. Oh my God, school has taken over my life. So, I mean, you know what I've been wanting to do? So, with my poetry collection, which is like the longest zine that I have, I wanted to incorporate drawings to go with it. So, that's kind of like in my next like arena of like, okay, this is something I want to do. And also with a photo series that I'm working on, I'm thinking it would be really cool as a zine as well. So, I don't know when I'm gonna do them, but I would like to say within this year. Um, Okay, so wait, we have some people here are saying stuff. So it says, Steph T says, I'm a knitter, and in some indie yarn shops in the UK, they do a payout forward scheme. So if someone is lucky enough to have spare cash, they can pay extra that goes to giving someone who has less money available. I love that, to have a discount. So I've seen this in bookstores too. Would love to see it at Zine Fest. That's a great idea. That's super cool. And also like sliding scale, I think should be an option. Like it's something that I've wanted to do as well. Um, it's kind of difficult though with a collective because I don't know if everyone wants to do the sliding scale, but I'm more into sliding scale. Um, yeah, and then everyone just said thank you. Thank you, everyone. This was beautiful. This was a really good talk. Thank you. Oh.
Okay, thank you so much, Sarah of the Cat Moms. And
Yeah.
I hope everyone had a great Zine Club. And if you're available next month, October Monday, the last Monday of October, we're having a zine maker talk about their fanzines about Orange County ska music.
Ooh, that sounds exciting. That's me. All right. Awesome.
Oh, good. Yes, I thought I recognized the name. Okay, we're excited to have
Uh-huh.
you next month.
Yes. Oh, cool. All right, everyone. Thank you so much. It was nice speaking to you all.
You too. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye.